slightly bigger tap as well. So, and eventually my mum played golf better than my dad within a couple of years. She's really strong now. Golf helps. So if you feel like you're not very strong, play golf. Start with tiny swings, and as you learn to get bigger, you'll get stronger as well. Mum's got all of her strength from golf. She can do anything. She could lift up grandkids, all of it. But all these things she was never supposed to do. Mum hadn't worked from 84, and yet in about, I don't know, before 2010, she gets a job in the public service, working at a gift store. Why? Because she's a bright, friendly person. She'd never had a job in like 20 odd years, never worked for government, hadn't done all these other things, and yet turns around and gets a job. All these things that people say you can't do unless you've passed this and this application and all these things. I keep watching it happen. My dad got over gambling. I've watched all these things happen. So I've been optimistic like my whole life, going, no, I actually think that we can do stuff. But my mom did have another thing that has really put my personality into me was with my mum, because when we had no money, and she would say charity begins at home. So we couldn't buy raffle tickets and we couldn't give money to charity and things like that. She'd always say charity begins at home. And I used to think, surely that's not the case. Surely we can help others while we're trying to do things ourselves. And so I would look for ways to do it. And it turns out, you know what? Making someone's day by just saying to them, wow, they're really nice shoes, or I like your dress, or how cool is your hair today? Something like that just makes someone's day, and you can actually give out to so many. It doesn't have to be cash. It can just be make them feel better and good things come to happen. So that's where a lot of my stuff, I also believe, don't hand out cash when you don't have it, but you can actually help people other ways. It's not just only the cash related. So I didn't believe that. So I've always sort of worked my way around that. And then I was about, we used to talk about my dad dying all the time. Dad would hear something and go, oh, I want that written on my gravestone. So I have this thing about, death and eulogies. And I remember seeing this time, and I carried it around for years and years. I'd lose the wallet I had it in, and then I'd find it. And years later, I moved it. I took it out, I read it, and I put it somewhere else safe. And I've lost it, still got the wallet, but I've lost the thing. But I had this little saying that said, and I must have found it was about 10 or 13, that it said along these lines: any good I can do, let me do it now, for I may not pass this way again. And I liked it so much that I've just thought, okay, let's just do what we can right now, because who knows what's tomorrow, right? My dad's like, I can do tomorrow. I can do tomorrow.
Yeah, and that is so true. But I mean, even a smile, you don't have to give material things. You just have to acknowledge somebody.
Yeah.
And, you can say, oh, you look nice. And if someone looks nice, why not say it?
I know. I had someone say, actually, I was wearing this dress the other day. I was putting petrol in the car. I was wearing this dress the other day. I come out of the service station. This other woman was filling up. She goes, oh, look at you in that dress. And I'm like, wow. Wow. You just made my day. Like, it's so nice to just come out of the blue from someone. I actually asked her, I said, are you a local? Do you live in town? I will wear this dress more often in the hopes that you see me again, because that's such a good feeling. She said, no, I'll just drive it through. Well, I'm going to wear it more often anyway.
But isn't it nice? You can feel a little bit down, but if you walk past someone and you smile and they smile back at you, even you, the person that smiled first, gets something out of it.
Turns out I am the most selfish person on the planet. By me smiling at everyone, and by me throwing out compliments and helping people and doing all this stuff that I do, I get their reflected glow of feeling good, which makes me, that's why I'm so Golden Retriever-esque. I get everybody's reflected glow of feeling great. And it's like, that's cool. I was in their presence. So I have this stronger than anyone else. Have you ever heard that story of the farmer that grew corn, and every year he'd go to the fair and he'd win the best corn every year? And after 10 years of winning every single year, a reporter asked him, how are you doing this? He said, I give my corn seed to all the farms around me. And he said, I don't understand. If you have the best corn, why would you share with the others? He said, because my corn will take on the personalities of all the corn around them. And if they have rubbish corn, then my corn won't be any good. But the interesting thing is the bit in the center, the one that grows in the center will be the best no matter what. I just make sure my farm is the best. So he gives out his corn every year, see, to all the farmers, and he would just spread his circle wider and wider and give it out freely to make his corn so good. And that's what I do. And I just give it all out, they're going to come back anyway because, they like the feeling of it. Sometimes it takes longer for others. Some get frightened by the brightness.
Yeah, and that's true. They do because they're not used to that. I'll say vibrance.
Exuberance.
Yeah. It's something like, they've always sort of petered on the edge, or they're skeptical about things. And why is something good when I don't feel good about it, and all the rest of it? So it's interesting to see some people accept that gift of hello, good morning, you look nice today, etc. And there are other people, and I can relate to this. When I was younger, if someone said I look nice, I'd say, oh, do I really? And question it. And this is what a lot of people do. They question someone giving them a compliment, or someone saying nice things about them.
This old thing. No. Someone said that to me once. Don't say no when someone hasn't asked you a question that requires a yes or no answer. And don't say no when somebody compliments you. Just say thank you. Yes. And it's interesting, since having children, they would do the same thing. Actually, they taught how to respond to thank you. When someone says thank you, here's the answer. You're welcome. That's it. Right?
That's all you need to say.
On the other side, there has to be some big thing that goes on. Someone says thank you, just say you're welcome. Even with a text message, someone will say, oh my gosh, thank you so much, Misty, that was great. And I think, I go to write something and I think, no, just you're welcome. The boys said it from when they were 2 years old, and it makes sense. Why are we getting into this conversation about someone saying thank you?
You don't need all the words. You don't need to have all the words. You just have to have, it's simplicity, isn't it? It's all about the simplicity of life. I think we as humans complicate everything, make things difficult for ourselves, and it creates this angst within us.
We use far too many words. I remember as a barmaid, being out in Hay, and these two ladies come in. They were like as old as my grandmother. So they're like 80, 85 years old, right? It was so cool. They were traveling together and they stopped for a couple of beers. So one says, I'm buying. No, I'm buying. No, I'm buying. No, I'm buying. So I turned around and I said, you can buy the beers. And the other one's like, oh, and you can buy lunch. And I said, and all I want you to, and so one of them goes, yeah, I get to buy the beers. And I said, and you get to buy lunch. She's like, oh, that's good. And then the friend's like, no, hang on a second. This isn't, no. Here's how it works. You buy the beers because I'm only taking money from you, and you say thank you. And then you buy lunch and you say thank you. And that's it.
And what do they do?
They're thinking about it, going, actually, that's a good idea. Just say thank you. Don't argue with them. I said, here's my guess. I bet that when you buy a box of chocolates for someone or flowers for someone because you want to, or because they're feeling unwell, or you want to make their day, that you do it because you really, really want to give them something special.
And make them feel
All
good.
they need to say is thank you, not, oh, no, you didn't have to do that. Of course you didn't have to do it. You did it, not because you had to, because you wanted to. So just practice saying thank you. Your friend wants to show you how much she thinks you're great, but your other friend wants to do the same. Just say thanks and move on. Yeah. So they did. They said they're going, okay, all right, well, we'll do that. Well, the plan is in place. Great, let's move on.
That's really interesting because, as I said just a moment ago, we do complicate things when it doesn't need to be complicated. Just go with the flow and enjoy the moment.
Yes,
because
you would
that
think by
moment,
84 we would learn this. We would know this already. It turns out we just don't.
I don't think that a lot, I think more so with our generation now and our next generation and the generation after, that kind of thing will happen. But growing up in my time and maybe earlier in your time, you were fortunate to have a mother whom you know, just said, say good morning and things will be good for the rest of the day. And I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to say good morning to myself. I'm going to look in the mirror and say, good morning. And see how that makes me feel. But it's really interesting. We just make things so complicated when it can be so simple.
Mm.
And is it emotional? Is it a fear of not providing or not doing something, or what is it?
What that stops us? That stops us from
Yeah,
doing.
stops us. Yeah, it stops us from just saying thank you and, you know, oh, you didn't need to do that. Oh, you shouldn't
Honestly,
have
I
done
think it's
that.
just basic lack of training. It's just basic lack of training. We've just never been taught to just say thank you and move on.
No,
Just say thank you, right? Just learn to take the compliment, just say thank you. We've never been taught to just say the answer to thank you is, if you feel you need to answer something, is you're welcome. You know what I have real difficulty with, Faye, is Google reviews. Right, Google reviews, social media posts, and social media marketing. I'm sure I'm going to have people say all sorts of crazy things. But honestly, you know, when I go to Google reviews and I write to someone, like there's a woman who sells a product called a sleep keeper. So Diane Tipper, she sells this thing called a sleep keeper. It's amazing, right? It's like a big pillowcase with Velcro on it. You put your pillow in it. It's, you know,
and you take it with you wherever you go.
you take it with you, right? Wherever you go. It rolls up. It's like better than a sleeping bag, right? Rolls up, fits into everything. You drop it on the ground. It's water resistant, you know, keeps your pillow unsticky, easy to carry, you know. Anyhow, so I write a Google review on her, and to just, you know, Diane Tipper's amazing, her sleep keeper's the most amazing thing. Well, I did it because I just wanted to say to her, thank you. I think it's amazing, right? But and I'm just using her as one example, is I got really surprised when she wrote back to say, you know, thank you for that review. I'm going, well, I wasn't writing it for a thanks. I literally just wanted to say thank you and then move on from the whole thing. But we're told that we have to respond back when someone says thank you to us, and then we have to write something else. And I thought, you end up in this big, long conversation. And yet I just wanted to say thank you and move on with the rest of my day. So when people write to me, I've had other people say, you know, this is the most amazing sales trainer ever. And then they come back to me a week later saying, I put a review on, you didn't say anything back. What am I supposed to say? Like, so you thought my sales trainer was good, and well, thank you for that. I'm sorry, I didn't know that you needed
Reassurance.
reinforcement
Yeah.
that you wrote something nice. Couldn't you just work that one out? Like, is there an obligation? They've gone, oh no, it's how you get things noticed on posts. Okay, that's the most insane thing I've ever heard in my whole life. You could just spend your days responding back to all sorts of weird stuff, or you could just get on with your day and say hi to someone with a big old laugh, you know. We do get caught up in the weirdest conversations that just account for far too many words. Yep, time up. I just spotted it too, you know.
Time.
Teach, right? Can't remember what it's called, but it comes down to this, right?
What do you mean you don't know what it's called?
Oh, I can't remember what I called it. Like I make up all these names. But I ask this question in class often. Who loves it when, so particularly for the parents, who loves it when they've gone out of their way to make a delicious, nutritious meal for the children, and they've allowed them to have all the extra time on the media so that they get exactly what they want while you make the dinner, and then you put it there and they complain that they don't like it because there was a couple of veggies on the plate. Or you give them their favorite meal and you put it there and it's on the wrong colored plate. Or the other sibling got more than what they got. Or they're not that hungry tonight and you gave them too much. Who loves it when you do stuff and then someone tells you you've done it all wrong, right? Well, then who loves it when they pick a holiday and then someone says, you know where you could go that would have been better? So then as a customer, who loves it when the salesman tells you that you're buying the wrong thing? You know what's funny? Nobody likes any of this. Everybody hates it being told that they're wrong, right? So that's right. It's about acknowledging. Yeah, that's what the class is, acknowledging customers for where they're at. Just say, I agree with what you're saying. That's all you have to, that's all your answer is. Doesn't matter what the customer says. So as a salesman, I said, so as a person, here's what happens. We get told that we're wrong so much by everyone every day that imagine that you're at home and for some reason you've got nothing to do. The laundry has been done. The spouse is out doing whatever they're doing. The kids are at school and you've literally got the day free to yourself and you think, I'll take it. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to take myself out to lunch. I'll grab a piece. Pretend it's a Sunday, right? And so everybody's out doing their own things. The kids aren't at school. They're off doing something else, right? I'll take it. I'll read a book. I'll grab some lunch. I'll grab a piece of cake. I'm going to come home or some ice cream and I'm going to sit and watch a movie in silence before anyone else. Imagine that, right? Oh, yeah, no, I'd have Maltesers there as well. So imagine that, right? It's chocolate ice cream, right? A chocolate cake, right? Now, here's what will happen is you might read for a little bit and take yourself out to lunch. But then when it gets time, by the time you finish lunch, you'll be there going, this is a little bit decadent, isn't it? Gosh, I've literally done nothing. Should I really be going home and watching a movie? Should I? Maybe I shouldn't. What would I watch? Oh, no, maybe I shouldn't do that. You're thinking, do I get that piece of cake? That's a bit naughty, isn't it? I probably shouldn't do that. So we're so used to being told that we're wrong that when we have one day to ourselves, we come up with a way to tell us where we're wrong in that day so that because nobody else is around to tell us. So we're so practiced at hearing we're wrong, we'll do it to ourselves. So as a salesman, our job is not to tell anyone that they're wrong, since nobody likes it anyway, and just agree with the customer. So or as I do with the boys, will you get me in trouble if I beat up this kid down the street? I'm the least of your worries, mate. It doesn't matter what my reaction is. It matters what his mum's reaction is, but not mine, right? But go forth, make your own decisions. Will I get in trouble if I get suspended? You get to see what it's like. Does it matter if I get you in trouble? What are they going to do at the other end? It's up to you. What do you want? How do you want to live? But then it's the same with us as salesmen for customers. I can't afford your thing. I think I'm going to go with the other guy because it's cheaper. I think that's a great idea. And leave it with them. After all, they've gone to all the research to find out what they were looking at, right? They know how much money. I don't have that much money, right? So if it's I don't have that much money, customer just needs to be acknowledged. I understand exactly how you feel. They don't need anything explained at them. If they don't have it, they don't have it. I remember last year, so I network in a group in Canberra. It's called My Vibe, the My Vibe community. And I've been in the group for 2+ years, for however long the girls have been doing it. So 3 women run it. They're amazing. They run face-to-face events. And I've gone twice a month, every month for at least 2 years. It's either been online when COVID was on, but it was prior to that as well. And then afterwards. And I remember at Christmas time, or the last event before the Christmas party, we have the event. It's like a mums in business meeting. So we have it and then we have lunch afterwards. We're sitting there having lunch. There's a bunch of us, like 20. They said, hey, Missy, did you see that the My Vibe Christmas party tickets are out? I said, yes, I did. And they said, are you going? And I said, yes, I am. And they said, have you bought your ticket yet? I said, no, I haven't. And someone says, do you know there's $75? I do know there's $75. Well, why haven't you bought your ticket yet? I said, because I don't have any money. And then somebody piped up. So last year I was running an experiment. It was a 2021 experiment. So all coaching sessions, sales training and coaching was $20 per session. Need hand, $20.21 to help as many people in 2021 for 2021. This year is 2022. I do the same thing. Next year it'll just be a flat price, $25. I help as many people as you can for the lowest amount of money. And then that's my theory on the whole thing, but help a huge amount of people. So anyhow, with this $20 per coaching session, someone, a few people cropped up and said, well, you don't have any money because you don't charge enough. You only charge $20. And I said, no, I charge plenty. And they said, no, but that's why you don't have any money. I said, no, it's not. They said, yeah, it is, because you only charge $20. And I said, well, I got 330 clients this year. And they said, well, that's only like $6,000. I said, here's the thing. One is you're assuming that I only sold one coaching session once to each person, which I didn't. And I said, and the other thing is you assume it's because it's how much I charge, but you're not taking into account that yesterday I did the Christmas shopping and I spent it all. So I don't have money because I literally don't have it, but it doesn't mean I can't get it. It doesn't mean I won't have it tomorrow or that it won't come in next week. Today, my answer is I don't have the money because yesterday I spent it. And this is what I teach in class. When someone says, I don't have the money, it doesn't mean they can't ever get it, or they don't have it, or they don't want to buy it, or they need a discount. It just literally means in that one moment when they said it, they don't have it for that thing. It might not have been budgeted for this. And so by saying, I understand exactly how you feel, is like, because, hey, haven't we all been there that we wanted to buy something? What if you went out on a walk, saw the ice cream van, wanted an ice cream and thought, why didn't I take my wallet? I'd get an ice cream, but I don't have any money because physically it's not on you. It doesn't mean you don't have cash. It's just not with you, right? So we, as salesmen, as people, even for people in the house, we assume we know so much about everyone around us and that we should be in charge of solving their problems. And we take it all on ourselves. But the truth is we don't need to do any of that. We just need to acknowledge the statement that was made. Yeah, okay, don't have any money. Yeah, I know, that sucks. I've been there. I know what it's like. Christmas is around the corner. I feel like that now. But why I don't have the money, and it allows the customers to start talking because they feel on the same page, and it helps with other people.
Not threatened.
No threat, right? It goes from being on, whereas most sales go, let me help you find it. I asked a question recently. So Faye, I asked this question recently. Whose problem is it? If the customer has no money, whose problem is it? So I'll ask you, whose problem is it?
The customers, not yours.
It is ultimately the customer's problem. It's kind of the salesman in that if they have no money, they can't buy. But ultimately, you can't make them have money when they don't have it. Now, here's the next question. Whose problem is it to solve?
Theirs, the customers.
It is now, isn't it? It's their problem and theirs to solve. But traditional sales training teaches the salesman, if a customer doesn't have any money, it's your problem and your problem to solve. So help them find it. Okay, well, that goes against everything of how we like to live. We don't like being told we're wrong and we're buying the wrong things, or that we've wasted our time doing a nice task for someone down the street and that we should have charged for it, or, we don't like being told we're wrong, ever. And oddly, children will teach you this 100% all the time. They don't like being given the answers when they've made a statement. And if we pay attention more to that, we don't like it either when someone gives us answers.
We don't like being told what to do, how to do things, how to think, how to feel.
Unless we ask. And it's a question. Can you help me solve this problem? That's when they need help. But until they ask that, like if it's oh my God, I have this problem I can't solve, that's still not someone asking, can you help me? It's just, I'm just telling you, I have a problem I can't solve. Oh, that sucks. It's a bad problem. But it's like, yeah, right. That's an interesting problem you have. Wait to find out. Is there direction on that? Oh, yeah, I'm asking so you can help me solve it. Oh, okay. Where do you need help?
Yeah.
So
wait for them to explain themselves or to ask instead of assuming, making assumptions, which we do as humans all the time. We assume that we can fix something that's not right in their life. We may not be able to fix anything in our life, but we're trying to fix it in someone else's life.
We're all so important that we can do it in someone else's. Crazy, isn't it? So crazy.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. So I look at sales completely in every aspect of day-to-day life. Why did that go wrong? I get asked the one question. I remember getting asked a couple of years ago. I used to have these $20 classes, $20, where you just turn up the pub, grab yourself a drink, $20, I'll run a class. And whoever's there, that's what it is. And I remember this one girl, she turned up, she was the only one. So she got whatever she wanted, like all to herself, right? And I said, all right, well, you can pick a topic. She said, how do I get people to do what I want them to do? Because that's the age-old question. Here's the answer. You don't. They'll always do what they want to do, right? All you can do is throw out the idea, cross your fingers and hope for the best, but mostly you can't make anyone or get anyone to do what you want. You can just throw out the ideas and see if they're on board. There's no point giving features and benefits. Customer doesn't want it. They've got their own. Here's one. Milk. Do you remember the features and benefits, like the ads with the features and benefits, like for milk growing up? Why did they tell us to have milk?
Because it's good for your bones.
Yep. Valuable source of calcium, good for growing bones. Teeth, right?
Yeah.
Kids love strong teeth.
Yeah.
As a mom, I have milk in the house for one reason only, and it's none of those. I look at it and go, yeah, okay, that'd probably be handy. It turns out kids just grow anyway. All right, so mostly kids will grow regardless. And I'm sure the milk is helpful, but I honestly have no idea. I have it for one reason only. At the end of the day, when I turn the media off, they yell at me. And so I make them hot chocolates. Do you know how hard it is to yell at someone when you're sitting at a table holding a hot chocolate? It's really hard because it shakes and it pours it. So I make them hot chocolates. They sit there quietly, sip it, and we have a discussion. I now understand why the English make cups of tea like all the time, and they give it in really small cups. You cannot get overexcited holding a cup. It allows you a chance to breathe. And they say, if you're in a bad mood, I'll just put on the kettle. Gives you a chance to breathe. They make the pot tea, and you can't yell while it's there. And if you're really excited, like happy excited, again, you have to take a breath while you pick it up. That's why I have milk, to stop them from yelling at me. Milk would never think to use that as a benefit for mothers. It's such a good one, though. So we salesmen, we can't come up with the features and benefits. There's no point anymore. Customers Googled it. They know why they're buying. All we have to do is say,
and they do.
Take the cash. I can help you with that. Take the cash. Less words. More sales. Help more.
As I said earlier, you make it sound so simple, so easy. But we tend to get in our own way, in our own road, and our emotions come up if we're, you get to a point and you think it's not going to happen. So the emotions start rising and you get a little bit frustrated and you think, how am I going to get this over, so that they want it and they pay for it and they walk out happy and you're happy and all the rest of it. But the emotions come into that, don't they?
Yes. So it's called practice. Salesmen do practice selling. They practice with their customer and they get it wrong. And then they make up stories as to why the customer didn't buy. And that is our big sales problem that we have. We make up stories that aren't true. Let's say you asked me, how much is it for sales training? Or how much is it for your book, right? And I said,
how much is it for your book?
Okay, it's $30. And you're thinking, great, which card am I going to use? I'm there going, because you've gone silent. And I like silence filled. So I go, well, the reason it's $30 is because inside it's a sales training book and then it does this and it does that and it does this. And you're thinking, which card? Okay, God, she's still talking. All right. Okay, so I've got a team of people. I wanted to get them for, okay, all right. Thank you very much for the information. Because as a salesman's talking all the time, you can't concentrate on what you needed to buy. Because you got the answer you needed, but you couldn't concentrate with it. So then the customer leaves saying, thank you very much, right? When the customer leaves because you stop them from thinking their next question, the salesman makes up this story. See, they didn't like it. It was priced too high. They didn't like the price. They didn't understand. They don't understand the value I'm giving. They don't understand valuing themselves. They don't understand how good this is. They think they can do it themselves. All these stories that aren't true. And the customer's just thinking, if you had to stop talking, I could have bought it.
Yeah. But we don't realize that until it's too late. And then even then we don't
You
realize
don't know, right? So practice becomes important. So I run practice. That's how I run sales classes. It's all practice, practice. Let's see what mistake you're making. And then let's stop doing that. Let the customer buy. Customers want to buy. And they picked you out of everybody else. So yeah, it's interesting, but it's a whole new way to look at it very practically. How are we doing that? Like, how do we buy? How do we like to shop? And then what are we doing that's completely the opposite for the customer to walk away? They don't come asking us questions if they don't want it.
That's true. Now we have to go. So how do they get in contact with you, Misty, if they want to have a conversation with you, the listeners?
I'm very easy. On Facebook, I'm the one with the crown. I'm the only Misty Henkel. So M-I-S-T-Y, Henkel, H-E-N for Nelly, K-E-L. That's it. On Facebook, easy to find. But just write a messenger and say, I want to be friends because. Or that's my Gmail address, mistyhenkel@gmail.com. Really easy. I have a Google business page, Misty Henkel Sales Trainer. Canberra, I think it's locked to at the moment. Yeah, so I can be found because I'm the only one in the world. But I'm wearing a crown. Here's my crown. For those on Facebook Live, I have a crown, so I'm pretty easy to find.
Thank you, Misty. Thank you. It's time to go. I'm Faye Waterman, and this has been a conversation with Faye. I'll be back the week after next, on way next week. But it's time for the news, and after the news, it's Monday Mash with Sam. Enjoy your week. Keep safe, and hopefully it stops raining and the floods